Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to this week's edition of Divination Demonstration. As promised, we have an autumn-themed reading. It's called Autumn Leaves, and I managed to find a picture version of this spread, and I'm going to post it at Blackbird's Brew on Discord. So if you would like to try this spread out for yourself, just hop on the Discord server and you'll be able to see it. And if you'd like to, by all means, share your results with us. Now, one thing that I haven't really talked you through the process in these videos just yet is how to do a reading for yourself. Now, I know there's a lot of practitioners out there who are very anti-doing self-divinatory readings. In fact, one of the witches that I was very well acquainted with for many years and consider her to have been one of my teachers along my path, she would absolutely wrap my knuckles for suggesting any such thing. And for good reason. It is extremely difficult to be objective about anything to do with ourselves. Now, it's a little bit easier if we're using the cards as part of meditation. That's we're not looking for a particular outcome. We're not looking for a specific answer to a question. We're simply looking to the cards as guidance and wisdom to kind of take us through a thought process so we can learn something. That's a little bit easier to do on your own. But if you're actually are needing something for purely divinatory purposes, it's difficult. We're invested, our emotions and that we're having, especially if it's something that's really deeply personal and important to us, well, the energy of our emotions can really overwhelm the cards themselves. So we're seeing our emotions reflected back at us rather than the information we actually need. So on such occasions, if you can find someone else to read for you, please do so. And if you're thinking, well, I really don't have anybody else to read for me, well, then that's another reason for you to join Blackbird's Brew on Discord. We have many people there who've been practicing a variety of divination forms for many, many years. Any one of us, I'm sure, would be very happy to help you, or at least be a sounding board. If you do a reading for yourself and you're just kind of wanting another set of eyes on it to see if you're getting the right idea, everyone is very happy to kind of step up and help people out. It is a community that is forming and starting to knit together, I'm happy to say. So, first rule when you are doing self-readings, it's probably a good idea to go through an exercise of grounding and centering, perhaps even doing a brief meditation ahead of time. Have as clear a head as you possibly can. Another thing that I've done to help me with my own self-readings is to ask myself, how would I interpret this card if I was reading for someone else? What would I think that this said if it was someone besides myself? And that really helped me, if not become completely objective, which, again, I don't think that's possible for any of us to really be objective about ourselves, but it did give me clearer eyes. So, let's go through Autumn Leaves and let's see what it has to say about me for today. So the first card in the Autumn Leaves, it represents a past experience or a memory that we're ready to let go of. Now for me, this pulled up the card, the Green Man, when, by the way, forgot to mention, we are using the Sacred Circle Tarot by Anna Franklin and Paul Mason. So, Green Man. Now what the Green Man generally represents is that there are wild, primal forces that are breaking down old orders to make way for a new one. It's a restless discontent. There's an impulse to just throw it all away and escape to new horizons, a period of rapid and wild growth. So if this represents and is coming up in the context of a past experience or a memory that I'm ready to leave behind, this indicates to me that I'm no longer at an exploratory phase of my life or within my spirituality, and I think that's very true. I'm not really feeling the need to investigate every single nook and cranny. I have found where I belong, and I want to focus on learning everything that I can about that particular path. And not just having a surface level knowledge, but really getting into the layers and the subtleties and getting good at it. I am at a point where I have achieved competence in many regards, and now it's time to start striving for excellence and doing better, and learning how to do things within that framework. I don't think that one has to be a spiritual wanderer for all of their lives. I think it is okay to say, oh, I found my home and now I can focus on that. And I think that is where this card is taking us. So the second card represents a behavior to retire. So it is time to stop acting in a particular way. And the card I pulled was the Tower. Always a delightful card to come up in a reading, isn't it? So the Tower represents everything that you've built up for yourself, the exterior we show for the world, something that might look okay on the outside but has very weak foundations. It can also represent unexpected shock or disaster, an inevitable shattering of plans and ambitions. Just the center cannot hold, and so things collapse in on themselves. Now, this is referencing a behavior to retire, and I think this also represents a mindset. Now, after I left the religion I was brought up in, I've had a series of crash and burn experiences, you might say. The relationship that I had when I left that religion definitely crashed and burned, and thank goodness, because there was not long-term compatibility there. But at the time, it was still very painful. And at the time, that relationship also represented the only sense of security that I really had tethering me to the world. Think about it. I had left my family, my other friends, my a former religion, the whole social structure that came up with it. And as a former Jehovah's Witness, I mean, that really is your whole world. Those are the people you interact with. You're not really supposed to have close relationships with people outside that religion, not even with family members. So I was in a very atomized and vulnerable state. I was very, very deeply alone. And there's been other things since that where I thought I was in a safe place. I thought I was amongst friends. I thought I was safe and secure. And then the rug was pulled out, and whoops-a-daisy, that's not the case at all. So it's been very difficult to form proper bonds with people. It's been difficult to have a sense of community uh, or even feel the slightest inclination to try to invest in something in order to become that. I've been this is kind of that sense of being a wanderer and not really attached to anything. So if this is behavior I need to retire, it says that it is time to stop wandering, and it is time to really make a proper home, invest in my spiritual community, and invest in the relationships that I have with people who are around me, that it isn't something that I need to be in constant dread of it shattering to pieces. And it's difficult to overcome that, not only because of past bad experiences, which after what I went through, I think that would color anyone's perceptions, but also because we are living in a society that is very much spinning completely out of control. And there's a lot of people out there who are behaving in a really, really untrustworthy manner. So it is an act of will to not withdraw entirely. But that's the challenge that I face, so that's what I need to be doing. Planting, rooting, growing from there. That is the task. Now this brings us to our third card, which represents a seed for something new, and I pulled the web. The web has to do with the sense of yourself, the realization of your own individual spirit, while acknowledging connections between yourself and the rest of the world. It has a picture of what is described as a weaver goddess who is spinning the thread of life and the patterns of fate, and to base decisions at this time on a personal sense of right and wrong. This goes along very well with the lesson from the previous card of, I need to abandon the idea that I have to be completely on my own and atomized, and integrate myself into a larger structure. And that's also what the web is essentially calling for me to do, because it's those threads, those connections, and the relationships, and how all those threads weave together, and how it forms a particular shape. It's all about forming that community. It's all about being where it is that you belong. So, big stuff, kind of scary stuff for me, for my history, but again, that's the task. Not every task we're going to find ourselves in, the craft is going to be within our comfort zone. And if we're not comfortable with that and we can't come to terms with it, we should really be asking ourselves if Wicca or witchcraft is what we actually want, because our comfort zone is not something that is guaranteed to us in this spirituality. So, card number 4, a way to care for yourself and stay cozy. Autumn vibes there. I pulled the 5 of Wands, and the 5 of Wands is about grounding. It's the fiery energy of it is a warning that you might be carried away following a dream and ignoring what's going on around you, that there's going to be an imminent intrusion of reality, and to become more realistic about methods of achieving dreams. Attend to your business. It requires attention. Seek balance and genuine spiritual growth. I think it's another nag, but it's also, I think, also a card of reassurance that I don't have to keep following the old thought patterns. I don't have to find myself swayed by, kind of the false dream and the false ideas of being essentially forever alone and without spiritual community, that it's time to be more grounded. It's time to be realistic and realize that no one is an island, not even someone like me, and that it's got to allow myself to be part of something. That's paying attention to the energy of what's going on around me. So, that's that. And that brings us to the fifth card, which is about what will give you warmth and energy, something to cherish and explore, and I pulled the wheel. The wheel, one of its ideas is being sensitive to the ebb and flow of cycles around you. One cycle in my life has definitively ended and another begins, and I don't know quite the exact direction that's going to take me in, but I do have some subtle clues and hints, so my job is really to just go along with those. Trust the tides, trust the process, flow with the energy as opposed to against it. So, big stuff there, and a little insight into my psyche. So that is essentially how it's done, of just looking at the cards one at a time, thinking about how this relates to your own personal experiences, your life, and trying to see it through as dispassionate a gaze as what is possible so that the message of the cards really rings true. So, I think that's it for this one. Again, I'm going to have a copy of this particular tarot spread in Blackbird's Brew. It'll be in the Daily Tidbits channel, so I hope you'll check it out. And if you use it for yourself, let me know. And if you have other ideas about what we can do to improve our own self-divinatory readings, please share those with me, because I just mentioned, one idea that's definitely not the sum total of all the techniques we can use to improve our own readings. So, yeah, that's it for now. See you in another video. Bye.